Good job by our referee to get this horse collar tackle, and he makes a good announcement to explain why it is a horse collar tackle. You can see clearly that the quarterback rolls out, gets well outside the tackle box, and then is grabbed by a defender by the back of the jersey and immediately snapped to the ground. And the referee correctly tells us that because the quarterback was outside the tackle box, this is a foul for a horse collar tackle. Had this same action occurred before the quarterback had left the tackle box, of course, this would not be a foul. Also point out that on the replay, you can clearly see that this is a grab of the jersey collar. That's one of the criteria for a horse collar tackle, the jersey collar, the shoulder pads, or the nameplate area. In this case, it's the jersey. So good job all around by the referee to get this, and a very good announcement.
Personal foul, horse collar tackle, defense number 4. The quarterback was outside of the pocket. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
We miss a very serious personal foul on this play that should have been called. The offensive lineman makes a good block on the defensive player who goes to the ground, and then the offensive player just deliberately slams his body into the opponent while he's on the ground. We get a good look at this on the replay. This is clearly an unnecessary act. This is something that should not be a part of our game. This is a flagrant personal foul, and in my opinion, this player should have been disqualified from the game. Now, it appears that the umpire is looking at this play but passes on it, but we should have had a flag on the ground. This is the kind of action that leads to trouble later on. It should be not part of our game, and we must call these fouls. Here we have an example of really good whistle control. This ball is fumbled. There's a scramble for it. A couple of players almost possess it but don't. The ball eventually goes into the end zone and is recovered by the defensive team for a touchdown. So good job by the officials to officiate this play. Good job to control those whistles. I'll point out that had this ball continued through the end zone and gone out the back of the end line, that would have been a safety because the fumbling team was responsible for the ball being in the end zone. There's no change of impetus. That didn't happen. This is recovered for a touchdown, but I just want to make the point that had it gone back into the end zone and over the end line, that would have been a safety. But again, I want to commend the officials for officiating this play well and controlling those whistles. This is a good call for defensive pass interference. You can see that the defender has his right arm basically wrapped around the receiver as he's going for the ball. Clearly an obvious intent to impede the receiver from getting the ball. So this is a good call for defensive pass interference. And as announced by the referee correctly, the ball will be placed at the 2-yard line for the next play.
Pass interference. Defense. Number 49. Ball will be placed at the 2-yard line. First down.
Good call for this hands to the face foul. We get a couple of looks at this, so this is a good call. Also, the referee does a nice job of explaining that the player whose helmet came off does not need to leave the game because the helmet comes off as a direct result of the foul. So good job to get this, and good announcement by this referee who typically makes very good announcements.
Personal foul, illegal hands to the face. Offense, number 61. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. It's first down. The player whose helmet was removed does not have to go out of the game due to the foul.
I have this on here not because of the play itself, but because of the knee pad situation. Now, we've been doing a reasonably good job of this. We've let some marginal ones go by that we probably should have gotten, but this is very flagrant. It's clear that this player's pants are simply too short. He has not had this happen as a result of play. This is a situation where the knees are simply not covered by the knee pads or by the pants. So we got to get this. This player should have been sent from the game before this play even started. So let's be diligent about this. We don't want to let this slip away from us. As I say, during the first few weeks of the season, we've been pretty good about this, but let's don't relax. We've got to maintain our diligence about enforcing the knee pad rule. We missed a late hit out of bounds on this play. You can see that the player goes into the sideline, and then his opponent just blasts him in the back, and it turns out he crashes him into a cart in the team area. We need to get these. We have always said that good dead ball officiating is a key feature of officiating, and we just don't get it on this play. You can see this on the line feed as well as on the replay. There's simply no reason for this hit, and there's no reason why we should not call this as a dead ball foul. Here we have one of these very tight plays at the pylon, and we seem to be having a lot of these lately. In the replays, you can clearly see that the ball is short of the goal line, between the 1 yard line and the goal line, when his foot hits the pylon. Once his foot hits the pylon, he is out of bounds. And so all that matters is, where's the ball when he goes out of bounds? In this case, where's the ball when his foot touches the pylon? Now, of course, extension of the goal line does not come into question here, because once his foot hits that pylon, the ball is dead. So it never crosses the goal line before it becomes dead. Now, the field judge is in great shape to see this. He's on the goal line already, waiting for the play to come to him. So he might have been able to see this because he is in good position right on the goal line, although it does happen very fast. The referee could have helped in his announcement if he had said that the ball was at about the 1 yard line when the ball carrier's foot hit the pylon. He says when he steps out of bounds, and we all know that he's out of bounds when his foot hits the pylon. But the media and the public may not understand that exactly. They may think that what we're looking for is where his foot hits the sideline and where the ball is at that point. So the referee could have helped here by making a better announcement. In any event, they get this play right. It is short of the goal line, no touchdown, since the ball is dead as soon as the ball carrier's foot hits the pylon.
Review determined the runner's left foot touched out of bounds prior to crossing the goal line. The ball be placed at the 1 yard line. First and goal.
This play gives me an opportunity to talk about the targeting foul in a little more detail than we sometimes do. We get a call for targeting here, but the foul is not there. And the reason the foul is not there is no indicator of targeting. There is forcible contact to the head and neck area, no question about that. But there is no indicator of targeting. There's no launch, there's no crouch, there's no thrust, there's no ducking of the head to lead with the crown. So there's no indicator of targeting. This player does exactly what we want him to do in making a tackle. He keeps his head up, he doesn't launch, he doesn't thrust, he doesn't do anything that would sell this as an indicator of targeting. So remember, the targeting fouls have more than one element to it. It's not just forcible contact to the head or neck area when we're talking about a defenseless player. There must be an indicator of targeting, and in this play, there is no indicator. This should not have been a targeting foul.
Personal foul, targeting, number 43, defense. That play is under review.
Good job to get this illegal formation where the defensive team has 12 players in formation. This is a dead ball foul, correctly ruled so. This end zone look allows you to see everybody on the field, so you can clearly count the 12 players on the defensive team. The deep officials do a good job of coming in and blowing this dead, throwing their flags before the ball is snapped. Correct to get this as a dead ball foul. We do not want to let the ball be snapped here. Good job to get this as a dead ball foul for more than 11 players in the defensive formation.
Legal substitution, defense, 12 players in formation, 5-yard penalty.
We get a call for a illegal block in the back, but the foul is not there. You can see this best on the replay. It's clear that the block is to the side and not to the back. And one indicator of this is that the player falls off to his right rather than falling forward as it would be if the block were directly in the back. This is not a perfect indicator, but it's a pretty good sign of a side block, because if it had been directly in the back, the player would not have fallen off to his side. So be careful about this. We want to call blocks in the back, but we don't want to get these when they're from the side.
Right now. Offense number 4, 10-yard penalty, first down. Officials timeout.
Ricky Smalling with a penalty.
We get a call for an illegal shift on this play, and I'm glad we got this. However, this is an illegal shift that should convert to a false start, because they never come fully set for a full second. You can see that the players are jostling to get in position, and then they just never get set for a full second. So correctly to call this as an illegal shift, but it is an illegal shift that should convert to a false start, dead ball foul. Shut this down before the ball is even snapped.
Penalty from the previous spot. Replay second down.
This play is a great illustration of the fact that you never know what's going to happen in a football game, and as officials, we've always got to be prepared for it. What you can see on this play is that the quarterback drops back to pass. He throws the ball. It is batted back to him, and while he's airborne, he takes the ball and flips it forward to the ground. Now, the referee is correct in his first announcement that this is simply an incomplete pass.
Which could be a forward pass, a
there
second
is a
forward
foul
pass.
for an intentional grounding on the play.
Right.
The quarterback who threw the ball caught it and was still in the air when he threw it forward. It's a legal play, third down.
It's too bad that he gets talked out of that and concludes that it was a second forward pass. But let's walk through this. When the quarterback is airborne and controls the ball, that is not the end of that first pass. And by rule, he bats the ball forward. Now, batting as used in football is not exactly the same as it might be when you're talking about playing in the yard. Batting means changing the direction of the ball with the hand or the arms. It doesn't necessarily mean batting in the sense that we think of it as kids. And so this is a bat. The bat is legal, whether it's in the field of play or in the end zone, because an eligible player can always legally bat the ball in any direction in the end zone. So it doesn't matter whether or not he's in the end zone when this happens. At the end of the day, this is simply an incomplete pass. It's all one pass. There are not two forward passes here. I want to make that point very clear. In order for the quarterback to have thrown the second forward pass, he would have to come to the ground with the ball in his control and then throw the pass. In this case, because he's airborne and never completes that first pass, when it falls to the ground, it's just an incomplete forward pass. And so it's just all one pass. There are not two passes on this play.
Yeah. Correction. The second pass was a forward pass. There were two forward passes thrown during the down. The second pass is illegal. That pass was thrown in the end zone. Result of the play is a safety.
We get a good call for unnecessary roughness on this play as a dead ball foul. You'll see this on the line feed as well as on the replay. The defensive player shoves the offensive player to the ground, and in the course of that, grabs his helmet and rips it off. So this is a good call. It would have been helpful if the referee would announce that the player whose helmet came off does not need to leave the game because his helmet came off as a direct result of the foul. So good job to get this, but the referee should have made the announcement that the player did not need to leave the game because of the helmet coming off due to the foul.
Personal foul, number 36, defense. Penalty is half the distance to the goal, first down.
This is a good alert and a good call to get this ineligible receiver downfield. You can see that the offensive team is effectively in an unbalanced line formation, and the two players to the far side of the right of the formation both go downfield. They're both on the line of scrimmage, and then the ball is thrown back the other way. So good job to recognize this, and good announcement by the referee to explain that number 10 was covered up and therefore was not eligible to go downfield on the pass. Good job overall by everyone involved on this play.
Ineligible receiver downfield. Offense. Number 10 was covered up. 5-yard penalty. First down.
We missed a targeting foul here in this action by the second player who hits the quarterback. You'll see this best on the replay. You can see that the second player who comes in and hits the quarterback launches, drives his headgear into the head and neck area of the quarterback, and we don't get a call. It may be that we miss this because it's the second player who comes in and hits the quarterback. I hope that's not the case. This calls for good concentration. We cannot look away, so we must follow this action all the way through to the end of the play. So this is a targeting foul. We should have had a flag on the ground and disqualified this player.